oddly enough, Afghan farmers don't seem to appreciate the drug war any more than their Colombian counterparts. Taliban resurgence is greatest in Kandahar and Helmand provinces, precisely the area where the Afghan government, under intense pressure from Washington, is pushing crop eradication most vigorously. And at least we have not gone to crop spraying yet. There's been manual eradication, but even that has managed to irritate the Afghan farmers enormously. All of these things have combined to create a wreckage of America's reputation in the world. That reputation, which has been experiencing a long, long slide, has now reached record low levels. Consider the results of the March 2007 survey by the Pew Global Attitudes Project. This looked at favorable ratings of the United States in key Muslim countries, and it compared that rating to a similar poll that was taken in 1999. In Indonesia, the favorable rating of the United States in 1999 was 75%. 2007, it was 30%. And keep in mind, this is after the United States sent a tremendous amount of aid to aid the victims of the tsunami. It's still only 30%. In Jordan, the positive rating in 1999 was 25%, not exactly a terrific rating even then. Today, it is 15%. And in Turkey, 1999, favorable rating 52%, today 12%. That's the kind of deterioration that we have seen in just the past 8 years. And the results are not that much better even among America's long-standing friends in Europe. In Britain, the rating in 1999 was 83% favorable. It's now down to 56%. In France, which was never quite as friendly to the United States as Great Britain, but still in 1999, the rating was 62%. It's now 39%. In Spain, it was 50% positive in 1999. And if one wonders why that rating was surprisingly low even back then, keep in mind the United States had had an affiliation with the dictator of Spain, Francisco Franco, for several decades. We earned the enmity of the Spanish population even long before 1999. But in 99, the favorable rating was 50%. Today, it's 23%. And Germany, I think that's perhaps the most depressing one. This is a country that was very friendly to the United States throughout the Cold War. In 1999, the U.S. had a favorable rating of 78%. Today, it is 37%. And if that isn't depressing enough, consider that in all 4 of those countries, all 4 of them, more people now regard the United States as a danger to world peace than either Iran or North Korea. That is how much America's reputation has fallen. Again, that reaction should not be surprising. Bullies may be feared, but as I said at the beginning, they are always hated. And there is no doubt that America is hated today. And perhaps the worst aspect of what has occurred is that for a long time, people around the world made a distinction between the United States government, and they might be very negative toward the American government, but even many of them would be positive toward the American people. Increasingly, that distinction is disappearing. People are angry at the American public, not just the American government. And oftentimes they will use the argument, not unreasonably, look, you elected these people. You are responsible in a democratic country for what your leaders do. And we're no longer giving you a free pass. As I said, American leaders understand that this country's reputation has gone down dramatically. A physical manifestation of that is the nature and appearance of America's embassies around the world. Even 3 or 4 decades ago, even though U.S. policies had made enemies around the world, for the most part, America's embassies were open, inviting places. Indeed, a good many tyrannical countries would often set up security barriers to try to keep people from reaching the United States Embassy and seeking asylum. That is no longer the case. America's embassies in virtually every country around the world are now hostile, forbidding fortresses. We might as well put up a giant sign, "Stay away." They symbolize an empire, and a frightened, cowardly empire at that. As the United States has become the bully of the global playground, America has become both less secure and less free at home. As other very fine presentations at this conference has shown, chapter and verse, a tremendous amount of liberty has been lost over the past several decades. I want to mention just 2 items about how much we have lost, how much we're paying to make enemies around the world. The most important element is our oversized military budget. Today, the United States spends almost as much on the military as the rest of the planet combined. That is a shocking statistic. And the truth is, we could cut our budget more than in half, spend a paltry, say, $300 billion a year instead of the current $646 billion, and still have a massive security cushion. If we cut that budget by that amount, that would mean a savings of more than $1,000 a year for every man, woman, and child in America. And as all of us know, having those kinds of resources give people choices that they don't normally have. So when the government forcibly extracts those resources, it reduces the degree of freedom that each citizen enjoys. It reduces the number of choices that each citizen enjoys. That is a price that we have paid for empire. That is the price we are paying for being the bully of the global playground. The second thing I want to mention, and which has come up before, but it cannot be emphasized too often, and that is the position adopted by the Bush administration on national security grounds, particularly regarding the concept of enemy combatants. This administration attempted to establish a doctrine that a president of the United States, on his or her own authority, with no supervision from the judiciary whatsoever, could declare any individual an enemy combatant and strip that person of all constitutional rights, quite literally sending that person to a deep, dark prison for the rest of his or her natural life.